Hey everyone, welcome to the Paladins Premier League. We are wrapping up week number 4 with our Friday matches in North America. My name is Latigris, here with Pretty Hair. Are you ready for these matches ahead?
I am. These are very important matches for today. We're only taking the top 2 teams this time around. G2 is basically there, so that means it's Envious and the Renegades, and they both only have about 3 games left.
And remember, everyone is fighting for their right to get to DreamHack Atlanta in November 16th through 18th, and you can be there as well to see them in person. HighResExpo.com is where you purchase your tickets for both our Paladins content, our Smite content, and anything else that might be there at the venue. Pretty exciting stuff.
It is exciting stuff, and we've got bigger plans, I think, for those tournaments than even in years past, so if you think you know what's coming, you probably don't.
Well, we also have things leading up to those plans, including our LAN that's coming up for this split, and we'll have our fall split as well, working up to our placements and the Paladins World Championship itself. All of these teams that we have seen so far within this split, some of them placing in a similar fashion that they did the last time so far within standings, and others that are still battling it out to try and become that number 2 seed to be able to come to the LAN following up this regular portion of the split. So in our standings, you can see that G2 sitting comfortably at the top, undefeated, looking to join Fnatic after they had gained their 6th victory, securing a spot at the LAN. And then you've got Renegades and Envy. We're both actually going to see these teams working today to get a little bit more of an understanding of who might be joining us. It could still be really tight depending on how it plays out, but it's our last 2 matches of this week.
Right, I actually misspoke earlier. Envious have 3 matches remaining. Renegades are the ones that only have 2 left at this point. One of them's being played today, so they only play 1 time next week, and it is against Envious. Renegades lost their first matchup against Envious, so if Renegades lose today, Envious win today, it all comes down to that matchup, and then that's when we get into, how was the map score in those previous sets, who has the better map score all around.
It honestly is so hard to say who's going to pull into that number 2 spot as well, because Renegades, we've seen it throughout the last split, but then here even more so that every week they seem to be improving better and better. Ever since they got Moonchopper on, everyone has just been bringing their top and best foot forward, including ClickU, who's always been strong on the frontliner and other roles, but just has been phenomenal on things like the Nando.
Honestly, as of late, especially ClickU has been special for the Renegades. He, on the front lines, pulled out a little bit of rucks, as you can see here, but his dominance, particularly for me on Fernando, there was, I believe, a Splitstone Quarry game. It may have been the map. Map's not important, but what is important is the fact that he was top damaging people. He was in their faces. He was aggressive. And I think that's what you need to kind of succeed here, especially in North America. That seems to be a very dominant style right now. G2 have been more aggressive on the front line than I think we have ever seen previously from them. And the aggression seems to be paying off for teams all throughout the league.
Whether it's Cuss, who's been playing a lot of frontline for their team and doing just that. You've seen Rubu do it for Envy as well. He's willing to play those aggressive frontliners and get into the face of opponents. And now Renegades finding their stride in that same exact situation. So if you're facing that off against G2, who we have seen just dominating pretty heavily within this split.
Vex looks like the evil mastermind in the middle.
He just needs a pinky too.
He's just got his council of scarves surrounding him. People you have to defeat to get to the final boss. That is Vex.
Get on that scarf status. Eventually.
He's new to G2. Give him some time. I'm sure he'll get a scarf sooner rather than later.
Eventually. Well, maybe the coach can make that happen. So Kyle, we actually got to speak about heading into this week in the matchup. So let's hear it. So, hey everybody, here with Kyle, the coach of G2 Esports. So, how you feeling today?
Hey, doing great, Gabby. How about you? Good to see you.
Pretty good. Now, I know you're actually about to be facing off against Renegades with your team. So, is there any particular prep strategies that you've taken for this matchup?
Directly, no. We are excited to have Vex with us. We haven't really prepped anything. We're trying out new things. We have more opportunities to do different play styles and take advantage of what Vex is going to bring to the table. So I think mostly we're just filling out the waters with Vex, and there's nothing really pre-planned going on. We're just playing it how we see it. So.
Was that transition into bringing Vex into this roster pretty seamless?
Yeah, for the most part. All the guys that played with Vex before, they used to play old Astral. I mean, if you guys were around back, well, I'm sure you were. You guys understand. He came straight in and fit like a glove. So, last piece of the puzzle, you had to ask me.
It is nice to have that previous rapport with all of the team members, so you don't have to spend so much time working on that. But with Renegades, we've seen a lot of involvement from them. Obviously, the addition of Moonshopper has brought a different flavor to this team. So what have you thought about their performance so far within this split compared to the last?
Well, Renegades has always been like, I compare them, and I don't know if anybody watches Counter-Strike, but they're like the mouse sports of Counter-Strike. They were like that card, like you never knew what was going to happen, but they would just come out strong. And I think it was last season, not this one, but the one before when I joined. They came out of nowhere and they were extremely strong, and I feel like that's happening now. The first season, they were all right, and then I felt like as time progressed, they picked up Moonshopper. I think they got stronger as a team. I think they've gotten a whole lot better. They're looking great. They've been playing a whole lot better since last season for sure. And it's not something that we've counted out. So I think they just progressively keep getting better and better.
You mentioned your confidence in Vex's play on this roster now and facing off basically that head-to-head between he and Viral. How would you compare their two different play styles within that role?
Vex is very in your face, I feel like, and Viral can hit me up with this later, but I feel like Viral's like more reserved. He's more for the team, right? He's always there, like he's always like alive in the background. You know, he never plays too aggressive, but he never plays too passive, and I feel like he's in the right spot pretty much all the time. And I feel like Vex is just in your face. Like I feel like he's in your face healer, and I think that works out great with us because we like to, obviously play on the front foot. I think one's passive and one's more aggressive, in my opinion. So.
Well, thanks for all of your insight. We look forward to the match and best of luck.
Thank you. Take it easy.
So what are your thoughts on the support head-to-head?
I actually really like that comparison that he made for us there. Vex is just more aggressive, right? And I think overall that seems to be the theme of what G2 has just been shifting into as of late. I've never seen a more aggressive frontline come out of this roster. Granted, back it used to be, Wardoom and Doseups. Doseups would kind of just play around Wardoom, I think, so to speak. Dose just kind of fills in whatever he needs. So I wouldn't say I have a clear thought as to what Doseups the frontliner is there to do, right? But then Cuss moves to frontline, and it's like, and that can still be true, right? Because now Cuss is on frontline, and now Do's right there with him, spawn camping people. And maybe having an aggressive healer to complement that aggressive frontline playstyle has really paid off for them in total.
Well, I am excited to see how things go down, starting with Game 1. We'll see where that's going to take place. Because of the fact that G2 has been as aggressive as they have, the last time we saw Renegades, they were adopting a lot of that similar strategy. So what happens when that goes head-to-head on Stone Keep?
I have to see. I mean, Renegades run a lot of Grover, right? A lot of Grover compositions do tend to stay in the radius of said Grover healing, right? You would have to imagine you want to stay near that sustain. And I think as a result of this, it maybe makes them a little bit more dangerous to aggress on them. It's hard to just kind of spearhead into 5 players at this level of play. Renegades could look to use that aggression against G2. So it's just something they have to obviously be mindful of and switch up their style if it doesn't work.
Buck getting picked up, most likely for Moonshopper.
Right. Maybe Kliku, though. He's been playing a decent of it as well.
That's true. So it depends really if they want to go single frontline, double frontline, and what other picks they bring to the table. On the side of G2, you got the Cassie and the Drogo. So the Cassie, that's just been very typical in a lot of comps, but then Drogo's making sure that you ensure you have that blaster damage, especially with Bomb King banned away.
It's important to get Genos when you have Buck, I think, nowadays. And with this Bomb King ban, it's pretty... it's not common by any means, but it is Evil Eye over for G2. And if you ban out the Bomb King, then you at least probably know, or at least walk, and it's not easy to deal with, but it's at least knowing what it's coming, walking G2 into that Drogo's pick. Hopefully that pays off for the Renegades.
It's almost... Buck muscled out Xin a little bit as Genos' best buddy. You'll still see him picked up in this case, but it is kind of, it's not the way it used to be. Genos and Xin, they always have to be together all the time. Now you can have it, but Buck much more often than not. So comp to comp, what do you like better?
I have to give this one to, probably slightly to G2. I think on the front line, they're going to be able to get in the faces of this Leon and of this Buck and hopefully keep Evil Eye safe. And because they'll have a lot of that aggression and hopefully momentum, Evil Eye doesn't have to worry about getting dove too much if he dives first, I guess is what I'm getting at in total here for these two comps.
Well, G2 are looking to secure their spot at the LAN, and Renegades are looking to keep themselves in the fighting to do so. So let's find out what happens in game number 1.
Well, it's the party boys here, and it's Obviously, Gormizer and Rain Day on the cast for you. Thank you so much for watching in this PPL debut of nobody. We've seen these teams before. The idea, Gore, is that they have been playing multiple times and still have the same results. G2 always gets the better of Renegades, it seems. And can they change that today?
I'll say I think it's a good sign when you go like draft to draft and you ask Nick who wins. And at first, you don't really know. The only thing I think that gives G2 a very big lead overall is, again, you put these in a vacuum, I think it's very even, but you give G2 a lot of comfort picks. You give them a lot of things that they really like to play and that they are very aggressive with. And honestly, I think that's what gives them that little edge that they always need, is when they just pick up 2-3 things that are staples.
Is it worth giving them those comfort picks in order to get yours? I mean, Click You on that Buck feels very comfortable, viral. On that Genos, Moonchopper, on the Zen, these feel like comfort picks for Renegades. So did they make the right choice and getting comfort for comfort there?
Honestly, for me, it kind of goes into, I think, mechanics of the player at that point. You know, when you look at it player to player, even just team to team, you look at Fnatic, you can give up comfort picks to the other team as long as you're getting yours, because your comfort picks 9 times out of 10 are going to be a little bit better than their comfort picks, and that's kind of where it comes to, especially for this matchup.
Always questions on how Doseps will work out with this squad. Already forcing a Shadowfall, which is incredibly successful. That's not what they wanted. And it is going to put Terminus into a more of a steady, patient play style instead of the uber aggressive, which he may have gone into. Click You right in the backside. Evil Eye on the Jiro Ghost, just trying to get himself in the right spot for Rockets. He's in the right spot for a Fire Spit, and recovery already used, so Click You's actually in trouble if he gets hit one more time.
Couple of rockets here, a couple of rockets there, but they're keeping them locked down. I think that's the big thing. Renegades, no big kills. Same thing for G2, but Renegades are locked in behind walls. They're locked away from the point. They're not actually able to jump in the way they want to.
And a couple of huge rockets there on a Click You onto Moonchopper, and now Hero getting isolated. Everyone's forced to the left side, and they have a chance. G2 so smooth with eye drop bodies, just silky, getting his way all up into that Terminus and making sure that now Click You is isolated as well with a man down. No advantage in numbers, and 72% still on the objective for G2 Esports.
And it's a rare day that you have to see a Buck disengage from a fight with a caster, but it's just the way G2 are playing this. Evil Eye's always in the neighborhood. He's just like, look, you need me? Just say something, I can swing around. One rocket is all you need to sway that fight over. That one is going to be a good example, and now Hero, again, isolated.
And it's just so rough, too, because Evil Eye's hitting so many of these direct shots. It's just a tough break. You know, you don't always count on that happening. Moonchopper finally maybe a little bit of light at the end of a very dark tunnel, which was round 1, and G2 Esports off to the races. No contest yet here from the Renegades.
A couple of kills like that maybe a little bit earlier could have made some displacement, but Doseps, after that initial wall, immediately just jumped on the point. And he's like, all right, we got Terminus out of here. I'm just going to stand here, be a Nara for a little while, and you guys just do you.
Yeah, and so much of that initial point was set up by the fact that Hero had to use his escape super early. It's a 14-second cooldown, I believe, at base. And using that right away means that you just don't have the flexibility to engage the way you might want. It just sets the tone of the fight. Doseps being aggressive because he knows he has eye drop bodies and Evil Eye taking the right side with him. I don't know if I like Renegades giving that up and fighting down below. It was just too easy for Evil Eye to continue spreading damage and staying safe without any contest from Renegades.
And like you said, it's a Terminus with no leap, and no Maldumba, no Swiss Spirits, no anything to really give him that extra push to get in there. Like, even if you had just a little bit of movement speed, maybe you can still go in right there.
Right.
But you full retreated, you're no longer mounted, you don't have anything to give you that boost in there. And that's a lot of what's going on right here. There's no way for them to get in. G2 have just been holding this line very solidly.
And if I'm Evil Eye, this is like a feast, man. I see so many low champions, and he doesn't, elect to do too much there, knowing that he's got Click You on the bottom side very low. One rocket could do it. Click You going to jump away. Push successful. Cuss escorts it there. The payload, My Fair Lady, to the Spaniard in the armor, and just like that, round's over.
That, to me, again, when you go back to, like, comfort picks, Cuss on this Fernando has been looking a little too comfortable for the way that the switch has gone. It's been really good, and even right there, it's not, hey, I made a crazy play, got a triple kill, we pushed it in. It's just, I was standing over here. No one was looking at me because Evil Eye's such a big threat, because Doseps is over there being very, like, obvious and open in where he's standing. And so the payload just walked with me. I'm kind of standing down here, fireball, flamethrower, wherever I happen to need to, and no one glances down.
Now let's talk about Hot Swap 5. We don't talk about that too often. It's a card that I always give credit to Simsaloo for using early on, back in November in that fall lane where Virtus Pro won. He really pioneered the Drogos into the Buck. He also pioneered this Hot Swap at a high competitive level, which was not used in most Drogos loadouts. It was replaced with Masterful 4 or 5. And it's been so good for him to just continuously fire. He's got the Enlightenment onto him. He'll drop some damage, but is that a good enough trade?
Honestly, going down, keeping Loki alive, but you get rid of Hero. I think you can lose Evil Eye if you get rid of the front line, because again, look at Doseps. 66%, they're just sitting up there comfortably.
And he knows Moonchopper is just out of the billow right away. So Cuss is going to be chasing that one. He's distracting 3. That is way too much for this man to be doing. All the space he's creating as well. Now he's going to get some healing from Vex staying alive. The synergy with this new G2 roster is looking phenomenal. And Renegades, I mean, I'm envisioning a man trying to grab onto a ledge and just slipping. Can't quite find a foothold or a handhold here.
I'm going to sound like a broken record, but again, comfort, I think, is playing a huge role, because you notice how Cuss notices exactly the right time to disengage in that. And that feels the way that Evil Eyes felt, the way Doses has felt. They get aggressive, and they know exactly where in their health bar they're like, all right, I can't take any more right here. My pressure has to stop for a second. Then they go back, they get healed, they get back in there. The way they're playing this, it is feeling like an extension of the team into the game. Their champions are flowing just smoothly with each other.
And we know you're absolutely right. Comfort is a big problem. And although these champions are comfortable piece by piece by piece for Renegades, it is not working in a cohesive unit. The pressure is not there on Stonekeep Leon. Great for Drogos, but not when Evil Eye can just sit in the top balcony. And who is going to move them out? Terminus has not had the ability to move quickly enough without taking too much damage. Like you mentioned, without the Swift Spirit Small Damba, with the pressure from the Drogos. One shot away, and he should be able to go into the Dragon Punch. Will G2 go for it? It seems like Evil Eye is primed and ready.
Hero's going to be the main target, but Evil Eye actually has to fall back off of that one. Not going to have the full kill. Actually dies as well, so Cuss looking to be the next one on the chopping block. Shields up, but can he live long enough? No. G2 have to take a little bit of a pause, but there's still a minute left.
That's what's scary about it.
Regroup.
It's a 90% payload, all the way pushed. It looks like we might be going back to the desk sooner than many people thought here in a match that realistically is one Renegades were hoping to win, to basically make sure they could offset what could be an easy victory here if Envy play the way we expect against Splice in the second game of today. It's going to put them actually behind in terms of loss and wins, and so it's going to be very difficult week next week if they keep this up.
Nice shot so far. Really good positioning. There's going to be the Immortal, keep everybody alive. Press the gas pedal. Hero, once he goes down, that payload should be clean.
And it seems like it is. 27 seconds left. Enlightenment in a beautiful area and a beautiful visage there, but it's not beautiful if you pay attention to the numbers, and that's what goes into the pocket of G2 Esports whole-handedly. They're going to grab the victory, and they are going to send Renegades packing on Stonekeep.
I'll say the gap between these two is a little bit further than the gap kind of between like Fnatic and Na'Vi, but it's one of those things that if you had like Renegades showing up, being able to play their best game, and a day where G2 maybe wasn't at their best, that's when this goes 5 games, that's when it goes either way, and maybe Renegades can pull away, but G2 are looking really good.
It's a rough one for Renegades and a good one for G2 Esports. Let's send it back to the desk to break down Game 1.
Tough stuff, my friends. G2 have not been letting off the gas pedal at all, even when going against Renegades. That Suckile in a past interview had said was a team that they were worried about.
Right. They don't look like they have much reason to be worried anymore. That was incredible from them. I saw a lot of great moments from a lot of great different people. On the back line, good ults from Vex keeps himself alive. Bodies is winning his 1v1s against this Buck on the stairs. Meanwhile, then we switch back to Cuss's camera. He's 3v1, and Doseps is just on the objective like, good job, boys. Proud of you guys. I mean, just absolutely keep this up. I could do this all day. It's going to take a lot out of me, but I can do this all day.
How do you think that Evil Eye contributed to that situation on this Drogos play?
I mean, what do you guys think? He kind of always does what he does. He's landing a lot of dragon punches these days, uncontested. I saw one that Kliku was able to ward him off, chase him down, albeit that was a very ambitious dragon punch, to say the least, the one that didn't work out for him. But he's got so much room to work with, Gabriella. Look at, no one's near him. He's shooting fish in a barrel. Look, everybody's so far from him.
That little platform that he was on for so long, where it doesn't take very long to realize somebody is standing there, then it's on you to react to it eventually. But he got to just chill out there for a while, then rotate whenever he felt like it, and right here, the pressure that the entire team was applying onto Renegades was very phenomenal.
When he's able to get aggressive in the chaos, hitting the gas pedal, propelling to the back line, and just two-tapping people, there's not much you can do to recover from it.
So going into game number 2, with Renegades probably a little disheartened after game number 1 on Frog Isle, do you think there's anything they can adjust to try to tilt this a bit more in their favor?
Well, they ban out the Bomb King in game number 1. to be honest with you, I think that's an okay way to go because they draft a couple of hit scans, they get the Buck, they get their Leon, but they didn't really seem like that was what they needed to deal with Evil Eyes Drogos. Now, Frog Isle's a different story because there are snipers at play, so we have to watch the sniper economy here, and so far it's 4 DPS, so that means there is a lot of front lines open. G2, there is Strix open you might want to first pick. You might want to first pick Khan here. You might want to first pick Makoa. There is a lot of different ways to go, and G2 will take the Primus Foul Psycho.
So many choices. And Khan's one way to go about it. Very strong ultimate, especially on this map. This doesn't mean that Makoa is left open for Renegades, but I think G2's okay with that.
And I think that's the right choice because, you know, Makoa's great, but everyone's getting dumped off the side of the map. Doesn't matter how big, how strong you think you are. Khan's just going to overpower you, quite literally. He's just going to yeet you right off the map. If you're Terminus, if you're Ancient Rage, unless he can get it off preemptively, I don't see it happening. Maeve's another big one that was left open. I believe she was open in game 1 too, but just did not get picked up.
Interesting.
That's a great way to go for G2.
I feel like most of the time, if she's not banned away, she's picked up. So if she was left on the table, that would probably be the first time in a while in game number 1.
This is interesting because I mean, G2 could go 3 DPS here. And they will actually transition back to the Barrack. And I think you take away Damba here just to get it away from the Inara Makoa. That's a lot of healing to let through. But they're going to definitely lean on this Maeve here and on the bonus damage in general. So they will have not only the Street Justice bonus damage, but Luminary as well as Firing Line.
Rather than just eliminating the Damba presence on the opposite end, they would rather amplify, it seems, the composition that they've put together.
Yeah.
But these lineups with Renegades bringing Strix to the table, we'll have to actually see how that plays out within this matchup. So game number 2 is underway.
Well, Gore, I think it's definitely a comfortable pickup for G2 Esports. I mean, they've got the Maeve and the Cassie, 2 champions that I look at and I say flexible damage. And whereas the Strix a little bit more pinned into his cage back there behind the walls of Frog Isle, I think that Cassie and Maeve have the ability to take over a game in any position.
I kind of feel like if you switch Strix and Kinessa, right, you look for those headshots, you get that Eagle Eye, and then you're like, okay, well, I can one-shot that Cassie, I can one-shot this Maeve, given the right opportunity.
I could transport out and get aggressive, right?
Maybe you're feeling a little safer.
Right.
Right now, I'm looking at the zoning, I want to say, for Renegades.
Okay.
How do you keep that Strix safe? Bomb King can do a lot, but can he do it all?
You know, Inara's obviously trying to shut down as much as possible, but it's not easy for her to have that mobility. We're really going to be counting on ClickU and his presence with the Makoa, running Leviathan here and running the Giver title. Very nice for him, and it's lovely to see our actual talents on the screen. Vigorous defense, a nice little level 1 card. Got buffed last patches, and Never Surrender, Hope Guard, Plate Mail, the usual for UConn mains. Cuts Cutie doing his best to ride the wave, ride the momentum of this earlier win, and see if he could reposition just to allow Evil Eye to get that CC immunity, the damage immunity, of course. The ability for him to stay safe against this Makoa hook, which misses thanks to that CC immunity.
And now just being able to keep himself alive, not only shielded, but healing to make sure he stays up at the top, has the shout. And because of the positioning they're fighting this at, you can tell he's really kind of banking on Maeve specifically to get in, deal a lot of damage. And on the side, she's doing a lot. But you can see Evil Eye actually kind of relying on Cuss as well for the heals that can come through.
And it's really a nice champion pick on that angle because of the fact that she's so short. In fact, her head's not going to peek above. If that was an Inara, she would not be able to have her head hiding behind there. But Barrack and Maeve can both hide behind that little pillar on the right side of Frog Isle. Doesn't seem to matter, though. Loki finding a good kill onto the Bomb King Gore early on in this match.
That was what Renegades really needed to start out this match. Something to just kind of delay G2's push, right? When they get aggressive, G2 really just kind of start their momentum. They snowball fast.
Yeah.
When you stop them, you make them slow down, it gives you a little bit more time. Okay, I can think about where they are, what they're doing. What can we do to stop it? And that's given a little bit more time. Strix specifically can kind of reposition and look for some better shots.
And again, a lot of pressure happening, as you can see. But what happens when Evil Eye is let off his leash? He's been playing very careful right now, and Hero is getting collapsed on because G2 Esports have to do it. Playing around the barricade, and of course the Khan shield is important. They're starting to push them back. Can they find a kill here? 782 is going to hurt 680 still. Hero goes down with a pounce, and now can another one. He's going to roll in and try to find it. Moonchopper gets taken down in the reveal, and now Loki and ClickU are looking like dangers here as Cassie just disengages, most literally from the fight, and elects for G2 Esports to push with their front lines.
Just fall back, come around the side, leave one person standing on the point, and stop anyone from Renegades touching down. You get rid of ClickU, which Cuss being able to showcase, I think, why Khan is just so good in the right hands. You give that little bit of a damage boost, You can fight along with the best of them.
And I mean, Cuss missed a shot, why don't you? I mean, the man hit all of them, and ClickU sees himself in a pretty decent health pool, dropping drastically. Dosips and Cuss played together for so long, been teammates, they go hand in hand like peanut butter and jelly. And so naturally a lot of people are peanut butter and jealous about that and their attempts at trying to usurp them from the throne, but they have remained the top of NA ever since they've been playing, essentially. Except for that one season, SK happened to just win all the time. And then, of course, G2 Esports reverse swept them at DreamHack Valencia.
Everything going back and forth between these two teams, right? It's just kind of a couple kills picked up here for Renegades, a couple kills picked up here for G2.
Couple kills over here.
But the thing is like Renegades kills are, again, they're just kind of slowing them down. It's like a speed bump in the road, and then there's a full straightaway that G2 are just like, all right, well, now we can floor it now that we got past the little bump. And once they have that, they're feeling comfortable.
And I know what you mean by that. It doesn't feel like Renegades are making any moves that say huge impact.
Yeah.
Oh, wow,
No
that's a big
sign.
one. Yeah, it just feels like there's, like you said, a little bit of a reminder, slow down sign, so to speak, rather than running a red light. It just feels like they are giving a little bit of a warning, but it's not enough to stop what is an onslaught here by G2. They're going to find a kill onto Dosips, another kill by the Evil Eye. And the Commander's Grab is just going to help CussQ disengage. He's going to throw up that shield with a minute left.
And this finally feels a little bit better for me. And it's a minute left, so I don't know how well they can hold back G2. But that was the first time that I've seen a couple kills come out and Renegades like retake the area. Even when they were on the point fight, they get up to 99%, which was impressive.
Right.
But the problem is that G2 never had to fall back. They were just kind of like, we're giving you this room for now until we want to take it back. Even now, it kind of feels like we're loaning you a little bit of the map until we want it.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel like any full wipes have happened. I think G2 Esports first round only had 3 players that actually even died. Cuss and Vex stay alive, and now obviously Cuss doing really well. I think he has gone down once. Smooth Chopper finding a couple of kills, but still, it just feels like G2 Esports are biding their time. They're going to get another go at this if they want to because of the flexibility of the Maeve and the Cassie to be able to touch, to get in, to get out, to cause a ruckus here with some high burst. The question is, will they have their front lines back in time? And they may just give it up here.
Honestly, I like that call. Again, a couple of patience, or just a little bit of patience coming through. There's going to be Barrick, and he's just close enough. No! Pulled away at the right time. It's a small step. A little hair, I want to say, between him and the circle he needed to be.
I'm very surprised that they did not see. And that was actually just a bit of a mistake from Cuss. A bit of an unlucky, maybe, throw into the corner instead of down into the water. But yeah, I don't know. I think Maeve maybe would have been able to touch. Neither here nor there, though. Rampage picked up. And Determination.
Point spawning in 15 seconds.
I like Determination. I feel like that's a card that has been just on the rise overall in a lot of champions because it's hard to beat how useful it is. And for some people like Cassie, you have cards that, okay, do we trade this usability for this usability? For people like Mikoa, it's like, well, there's nothing that can beat me being up to hook you one more time. So I need that 70%. And then having that movement speed just for an elimination. Again, reposition, allow you to get in, get out, get aggressive. You can kind of snowball off of your team fights.
And, that's just an unfortunate missed hook there from ClickU. He knows that Maeve is isolated. Sees Evil Eye might have been able to get a pick there, but now he's got a few seconds on the cooldown. The Battle Shout is now aware, primed, and available to be used to support that flank. Seems like that is a through time and space. iDrop Bodies finding the kill on the Loki, maybe because of the pressure it caused. And already Renegades falling yet again with Dosips and Bodies picking up 2, maybe 3 here of their own.
Viral going down, and I think that's probably one of the more important members. Again, if you lose a little bit of pressure from a sniper, from a front line, you give up some room, but then you can come back in because, hey, I healed you back up. You lose your healer, you're out of the fight for a while, and that's assuming he even gets back in time. In this case, wasn't even able to spawn back before G2 captured that one. But Viral has been on my list of healers to watch and like support players to kind of take notes from, just because I feel like Renegades, when he has a great day, are a different team.
And look at this aggressive play from Cuss. He's just going straight in. He doesn't have the battle shot, so he will commit his life there, but he buys a lot of space and time for his team. Right around this bend is where you really have the most difficulty pushing. This bend and then the next bend that's about 90 degrees around the corner to the left. And so they're just going to bide some time. But the great thing about this area, when you have that payload there, is that they kind of have to stand in Cassie's long-range POV. So she can poke, really prod, and now, as you can see, G2 Esports moving with momentum.
Dome Shield available as well, Scout about to be available. So a lot of these kills, a lot of people where they are trying to maybe stay safe, stay hidden, are about to take some damage. And of course, once you throw down the Dome Shield, that is a great way to convert a payload if you need to. If you can hold on to it, I wouldn't mind seeing that specifically for the next point. With the way things are rolling, again, 1:20, that's plenty of time that you don't have to really throw down your ult, but it's definitely going to help secure.
And I mean, here's the thing too, you're finding Moonchopper here on the Strix, who's finding good picks, right? No doubt about it. But when are these picks coming? They're coming towards the end of a fight, at the snowball portion of a fight, where it's already over, and then 2, 3, 4 come in as well. He's easily cleaning up those and finding Cusscutie here, but what has happened in the process? His other frontline Mako has been taken down, his Bomb King Blaster has been taken down, and now he is isolated by himself. Hero does not have enough health to maintain, and now this snowball of 1 in, 1 out is going to be happening for Renegades unless they use some huge ultimates here, and I think they're going to commit. They go for the Ancient Rage Core.
They drop it down. He's trying to swing his best he can, but you can see again Rocket Moon's disengaging, gets the bowling ball shield, keep himself alive, and now that Ancient Rage is gone. ClickU is with it.
And I will say this, the Commander's grab again, the overpower again, the pressure Cusscutie is applying onto ClickU is not just in this game's efficacy of the champion. It is all also about the fact that he is targeting out what many consider to be the franchise player, the big guy for this team, that is going to lead them to victory here. And ClickU is just getting thrown off the map many times in a row, popped out of his shield. I think this is more mental as well to make sure that he gets a little frustrated at the kind of focus from Khan.
And I mean, you're keeping him under control, right? You're looking at big threats because you're like, man, Khan's so annoying. Barracks in my face. Drop Bodies is 11-2. He's just sitting on the side, doing exactly what Cassie needs to do. And for part of the reason that you see some of these champions do well, what we can kind of see, I want to say transfer playstyles, kind of like Loki when he is on this Bomb King, is I'm going to sit back and I'm just going to kind of be like the silent damager. Like, I'm going to get top damage, but you're not going to know I'm doing it.
You're not going to know. And look at this, another overpower, this time onto Hero, and that's a strong pickup because there's absolutely no way Hero can move back onto the map. And are no movement skills innately, and they're going to delete Loki there. It looks like they're going to delete ClickU as well. Double pounce, and we already know how that story ends. We know how it begins as well. 3-1, Viral's going to fall off. Cusscutie with a double. The pressure, the overpower has just been overpowering today.
Just good control. Part of the reason I think we see Khan banned is when you give it to a team that knows what they're doing, they're going to make it look this good. You trade out Cuss on his aggressive Fernando, and you put him on an aggressive Khan. You give him maybe a couple more abilities that actually help him throw people literally off of the map.
That's
and that sets it up.
That's it. Oh my, G2 Esports coming out swinging. Renegades having some title hopes here, and it's all getting taken away. G2 are like, nah. We are top for a reason. We are not letting you qualify unless you beat us. And no favors being given here from the top dogs.
And again, a lot of what they had going for them, it just kind of felt like you're pushing them back. Like you shove G2, and then G2 just battering rams their way right back in. You have to have something a lot sturdier to really stop them, and it just never felt like that wall was built up for Renegades.
Well, walls need to be knocked down here, especially with Renegades trying to break through into the top 2 of the PPL. But so far, not looking too great. G2 with a 2-0 lead after that game.
G2 have locked arms and stood in front of Renegades and said, you're not getting past this today so far. Who knows what can happen in game 3.
Walked right over them. That last team fight was really kind of something to watch there. And I think we knew that. At least I think I saw that coming anyway. I mean, G2 have been playing hyper-aggressive as of late. They've been working really well together, and with things like a Khan, they're going to stay compact. They're going to all get that battle shout bonus damage, and they're going to roll right through you. I thought the Renegades would look to do a little bit more passes, sort of kind of like absorb, form around them, hopefully get some picks from like a side or a flank or something, but they just they rolled straight backwards. They got flattened by that tide that was G2.
But everyone on G2's had their shining moments. We were talking about Evil Eye during game 1, and then here, if you look at Drop Bodies and his contributions to the team, in addition to everybody else who was just all rounding it out.
This exact play happens a lot, and I swear to God I've seen this exact thing happen before on Frog Isle specifically, because you always have Cuss and Evil Eye pressuring that staircase side. And then so often at Bodies, he'll sit here with Dosips and he'll get that pick on the point, or maybe he'll just roll straight to the backline like this, and then he gets this whole backline just to himself. The support turns around, a second too late, and he's just shooting for free back here. He's got nothing causing him any trouble.
It sucks too when you're Dumba and all you can do is slither away. You just see them a bit too late. You're a bit too unhealthy, and then it's just fear in the eyes of the Snake Man. But G2, despite losing 1 point in Game 2, we're still looking very strong. And going into Game 3, I feel like we can expect a lot of the same. Because it's not just in this set. The last sets that we've seen from them as well have been just as steamrolly.
You know, that wasn't a very standard draft by any means. A lot of really big stuff made it through. The Soul Sniper that was available, Makoa and Khan and Maeve, all made it through. And the Renegades are a newer team, to be honest. G2, I think, have seen so much. I think they draft pretty well because they are so flexible. There's not really much that's going to send them into a panic or put them into an awkward spot. So I almost feel like they thrive in the chaos, so to speak, when there's like a lot of stuff open in the draft and it's not very clear about which way to go. Like these couple of bans, you know, you've probably seen Makoa banned 100,000 times, Khan banned 100,000 times, Cassie banned, you know, maybe 50,000 times along the way. This is more, I think, vanilla, and Renegades can hopefully get themselves in a better spot for it.
Because also on the side of G2, you have all these veteran players who are just so deep into the world of Paladins that you can't bring any champion where they have to think, oh, what? How does that fare again? So having that knowledge and being able to conclude earlier on within the draft in the game what the enemy team is going for, then them themselves bringing a little bit of their own flavor to the table has worked out well for them. But so far, everything that's getting locked in, they are things that we've seen before.
Yeah, they get the Inara Barrack for sure, which is a very strong front line here, but I'm curious to see how Cuss is able to do with what I assume to be Barrack. I think Doe has more often than not been the Inara player for this roster. Renegades have a very aggressive lineup this time and are going to be able to put a lot of pressure on G2. This Shaolin has to pay off. This is very high priority for them. It's been banned out a couple of times this set. A late Drogos is always a great thing for G2, and when the Renegades just aren't interested in picking it up, that's just something that G2 can look to exploit.
And that does mean that then Shaolin and Drogos can both share the burden a bit in burning down the opponent. But with Genos there, and Barrack and Inara supplying very different styles of frontline. But I want to see what happens in Game 3. Are G2 just going to keep with the same exact feel that they've been doing not just in this set, but the past sets we've seen as of late? Let's find out.
Well, I'm excited for this Ruckus. I think, you know, it's good. We saw them pull it out before last Tuesday, I think, and they took that last pick Ruckus, and it was nice to switch things up and just open a different dynamic, a different dialogue as far as how do we counter this, what do we play with? Oh, we're expecting this now. How do you feel about Renegades having a chance to take this game?
I like the way that things have been going. I feel like they've taken the right steps to take this game, right? And being able to bring out Ruckus last, that's where we've seen teams actually find a lot of success with it, because it's just saying, look, you haven't drafted to deal with this yet. Sure. You haven't been able to go, although the Drogo's coming in. I feel like at the tail end, you're like, man, do we go Drogos or Bomb King? Which one are you feeling, right? You just choose whoever you want. Renegades, again, right steps. They've taken away a couple of comfort picks from G2. They've put themselves on things that can be aggressive, and they've kind of made G2 rely on like Shaolin and Drogos to perform heavily to make sure things go in their favor.
You know, and the thing is, though, Evil Eye and Bodies have looked pretty clean today. I don't know if it's the ping for Bodies, if it's just the ring, the wedding ring, I speak of, for Evil Eye, who's now just recently married. He got married right before the LAN of last month, so still probably in the honeymoon phase for sure, and playing well, like it. You know, and we'll have to wonder what is going on with the mentality of G2. We'll know soon enough, as they are pretty much guaranteed for LAN. No way anybody's taking that first spot or sending them into second. But at this point, Clicky right now just trying to get his team a win, maybe give him a chance to get to LAN, but it does not work out the way he wants as Evil Eye finds the first kill onto him.
Joseph's not going to be getting too big a shield, or if it does, it gets burned down immediately, so has to play a little bit more carefully, I think, than he wanted to on top of this Barrack. And that does mean that Cuss is going to be the one over there piloting that Inara. Again, something a little bit different that he doesn't normally do. Dosup's, I think, more standard overall. You can actually see that bowling ball relatively low considering. I mean, 900 health, still pretty good, but not as big, I feel like, that we've seen out of other Barrack loadouts.
No, yeah, Bowling Ball 3, not the same, running more Healing Station and Fail Safe, and just augmenting that with Forged Alloy. Good combination of cards that have been veteran Barrack cards for a while. And here it is, Evil Eye, so close to getting viral there. Eyedrop Bodies has a lot to clean up. Let's see how well he can do on janitor duty for sure. Loki may have spotted him out, misses those bows. Loki's going to end up getting the kill, but it is all G2 Esports at least finding the objective yet again.
This is one of those moments where, honestly, if you're going to, you lose 4 people, that's the best time to do it. You just got the point. You can now spend the 300 credits you just got, and with the kills going the way they did, G2 probably looking at some tier 2 items being able to come into it, and then you get to come back and win the next fight and be just ahead overall, not just in terms of items, but because of the way that you've been able to spend.
Evil Eye very good here at playing this Drogos in a way that allows even matchups that should not go his way to go his way. And Dozips and I Drop Bodies combine at the exact same time to find a kill on a Moonchopper, so he gets instantly deleted after the billow. A nice seismic crash as well. This is the veteranship of G2 Esports, the aggressiveness that we know from North America. They're not even close to the payload at this point. They're pressing up, using an ultimate just to say, hey, let's see if we can get a couple picks and keep this train rolling.
And exactly what they need, right? Where it's just like, we need to take this land. We know we need this space to push this in the first place. We're going to grab that now as a team, then send one guy back. We're not going to try and fight as 4 while one guy pushes the payload. We're going to full force it and make sure that you guys are ready, like that Renegades at this point, are ready to have to deal with us in our full force. And then when we have them on their toes or just falling backwards, then we can kind of hold up for a little bit, get the payload going, and feel comfortable.
And now they are pressing these kills. A really good through time and space to try to buy some time and some space, but it is not enough from Vex. Good fire spit as well. That's going to drop Hero. Can they find ClickU? One more rocket will do. He's trying to lead viral, but he doesn't need to. Guscuity cleans it up. Nice fire spit as well. Looking for the direct impact on a Moonchopper. Survival indeed as the card resets his thrust. And now it's just Loki and a Moonchopper with basically no health trying to hold this thing down, and somehow they are going to do it.
Evil Eye, Bodies, the only 2 left alive after all of that. G2 really in this awkward area of trying to figure out how to break this shell one more time. This is a very difficult base to break into, so it wouldn't be too surprising, I want to say, if Renegades can get a defense, especially since they were able to pull it off on Frog Isle. But you're still looking at 20 seconds left. The team's regrouped. A couple of ults are still available. They have gas pedals if they need them.
They do. Still, you know, do you want to be energy conservative? Do you want to be gas conservationalist here? And you have to know. Sometimes, you know, it's like, hey, man, I got 50 bucks in the bank account. Am I getting a full tank and a half tank and eating dinner? What am I doing? Hopefully not what most people are going through, but hey, it happens. Dozips here running bowling ball in activation. And overtime taking away here.
Good shots coming down. Evil Eye, Joseph's going down. Cuss is still around, trying to stay alive as best they can. The healer going out, though. Vex is probably the one, again, you get rid of him, you stop the success of the rest of the team, at least being able to kind of win a siege in that kind of scenario. It's just damage dumps versus no healing, and then there's no way to kind of supplement that.
You know, that's like beating down your cousin. And when you're younger as kids and getting them wrestle fights, you know, you try to say, hey, you think you're the older cousin, younger cousin, and all of a sudden, you know, you get them to submit. And then after they do, and they're like, I'm done, I'm sorry, you're better than me. Then they get up and they're like, ha, you suck. I could beat you anyway. You're like, that's not what I want. I want you to fully commit to that I'm better than you. And so even though he goes down there, he gets the spray and says, it's just a circumstance. I'll get you next time. In fact, such a big impact for this team now. And it seems like G2 have done so well in incorporating him into this lineup. It's been seamless.
And being able to play the way they did through times in space, I mean, he used one, was really good mainly at zoning in that kind of instance. It was like, you can either get aggressive up here and take this damage, or you have to fall back to where this salvo is going to get thrown out. He's already at 99%, so a good shot from that sways fights easily.
And Maeve right here is in a great spot because she's got so much mobility, but the problem is he's out of the fight. Now all that angles, all the pressure, all the potential doesn't mean anything because he doesn't hit any knives. And unfortunately, Loki is not able to get any damage onto the Dragon, who gets his Dragon Punch off. And now it's a 5v4, and these rockets are just waiting to land onto one of these low targets. Salvo up into the air. The counter smartly by Moonchopper, but I'm not sure it'll be enough, forcing the whirl, forcing everything from him. And it's going to be a kill on a viral like that.
And just playing angles, corners, doorways, everything you need to as Drogos. Someone's going to peek here at some point, so if I just keep throwing rockets there, it's bound to hit eventually, or they're just going to have to use a different pathway. And then if I cover the different pathway, I'm set. Hexafire canceled out as Vex gets aggressive.
And this is why Vex, you know, hits that spray. He says, you know, you got me this round, but I'm going to get you next round, and he certainly does. ClickU about to open up onto the low agile bodies, and they keep the Shaolin alive thanks to the support coming in with a big, big ultimate to send the Ruckus back home. 2-1 here for G2 Esports now.
79% Heat Haze almost charged up. Dragon Punch is almost back. Dome Shield's almost available as well. So a lot of things, again, at the tail end of a push that you're very, very happy to have in a fight. And this time playing it a little differently. I see Evil Eye.
Oh!
does like to idle the same way I do when I'm on my mount.
Oh my God, the amount of pressure. They go from idling and just chilling, doing some 360s on the mount, to an instant gib onto two of the most important members on the Renegades. They're looking to 3-1 this very quickly as they find ClickU and Viral early on. Loki still with a dream, a wish, a hope, and a prayer in the corner, but not many health points to his name.
I'm assuming the Vox is watching and listening. And so I'm going to say, Vox, here's an idea for a viral tweet. Go ahead, take that clip of Evil Eye spinning on his horse.
That's right.
Loop it a few times, running in the 90s. There you go.
I love it. There's a lot of potential with
I
memes.
really hope that I get to see that, like, right as we go onto the desk. I want that tweet to be available.
You're challenging the god himself of memes and PPL tweets. We're not quite done yet, Gore. It's going to be most likely 3-1 here. I see you getting ready to stand up. And that's just the nature of it. It does feel like this game, the set, has been over since game one, hasn't it?
It's one of those moments that Renegades, every
It's
fight
weird.
back, I guess it's, I don't know how best to word it other than going back to, like, you know, when you're you know, like, I guess hitting, like, if you're hitting your little cousin when you're a kid, right?
Yeah. I mean,
And,
in
like,
playful jest, obviously.
Again, like, you know, you hit them, and
Yeah.
they're like, oh, that didn't even hurt. So
Yeah.
you hit them again. And that's
Yeah.
like, Renegades, that first time back, it was like, well, that didn't even hurt. Now it's starting to hurt,
Now it's
but
starting to
they
hurt.
just aren't quite ready
They
to admit
aren't
it.
saying it yet. It's like, say uncle, and you see like that lonely tear start to fall out from his eye. And you're like, say uncle, I know you're about to cry right now. I'm not crying.
15 seconds.
No. Fine, uncle. And
I feel
think
like we
Aaron,
just had, like, a therapy session.
I forgive you. I forgive you. No, I'm kidding.
5.
If anything, it was me. I was the oldest cousin, so if anything, it was me doing that. So maybe I need to forgive myself. Who
See,
knows?
I was the little brother for a long time to two people.
Mm.
So you can just imagine how that went.
I bet you cried quite a tear, Gore.
Yeah. I think I would
Oh,
probably
wow, I
say
didn't mean
so.
to be too real there, man. I didn't mean to be too real.
I can't remember, honestly. That's how hard it was. Wait, what?
Wait, what?
That was all fun.
Well, here the Dragon Punch here, looking to have some fun. Loki, if he's smart, will be able to avoid it. But sometimes smarts, he did as much as he could, just not enough. 212 health saves the Dragon as he gets caught in between a punch and escaping and doing damage. G2 Esports in control now, 60% and counting to win the set. All they've got to do is lock down ClickU here, and I think that will do. I don't see Moonchopper escaping very well or this coming back.
Cuss, I think, facing a problem that Inara always ends up facing of everyone's gone immune that I could hit with this. Where do I throw this spear?
The
Ends up just
tree!
trying to look around, and unfortunately not going to be able to find much with that. Loki Moonchopper get a couple kills, but again, they get a couple kills in
nice
the grand
wall.
scheme of they're still Inara.
Nice, and they're going to Void Grip. And they're just going to kind of taunt him there through time and space as well. Again, on the ClickU, cancels the Hexafire. It's been over since it started. G2 Esports, absolutely monstrous in their performance today. Renegades, something's missing. And for a week next week where they're going into a potential battle for second place, this is not inspiring, I would say. And it leaves more to be discussed later on today on the desk and right now after this one, because that was not what we were expecting, and G2 Esports look phenomenal.
Again, I think it's just really easy to kind of compare region to region. North America has G2, Europe has Fnatic. Even the closest team in second looks kind of paltry, I guess, compared to number one. You know, you've got this big bodybuilder at the top, and then the next place guy is like, well, he's pretty muscular, just not anywhere near the same level.
And, you know, you got to say this is what we would have been considering not even close to a match, maybe last season. This season, the fact that we looked forward to it, that this could have been maybe a tighter set, is a big boon to Renegades and their approach and their future. But I don't know if that will end up impacting how they feel after this loss versus G2. Let's send it back to the desk to break down this first set of the day.
Rain Day said it. G2 were monstrous in this entire set.
Yeah, that doesn't bode well for Renegades and like map differentials if it comes down to that either. Not getting a single one here in this set ain't doing them any favors.
For sure. And you're in that point too right now. If it's Renegades and you're looking at how Envy's doing and stuff at well, like it's not as in your hands anymore, which can get really scary. But G2, phenomenal play from all of them. You were saying before going into the set, trying to find a way to define Dosev's frontline play and everything because he's so good in so many roles. What did you think of this frontline play with the Barrack in this game?
I thought this was really good. He had this really awkward moment where he got walled up. Cuss was like trying to boost him up onto the base, and he ended up just getting stuck in this weird like limbo. He started to clip into the wall too. It was very, very strange. But he was honestly by himself on that 3-1 push, he was largely by himself for the most part, and he was making a lot of plays, consistently hitting these shots, keeping the pressure onto this Ruckus as well as dropping his own dome shield and saying, you know what, this one is going through for the boys back home.
I think they're all pretty happy about this. So G2, they've been working so hard. We heard from Sakyle, very confident in their play. But on the side of Renegades, what do you do when you really needed to win this match to try and keep yourself in the race? G2 did just secure their spot at LAN as well. So how do you fare going into your last couple remaining matches?
I think you got to pick yourself up. Renegades, I believe, have one more game against Envious. It's not going to be an easy road for them. But what they can take solace in the fact, and it's almost kind of a dual comment I'm about to make, that Envious just got crushed. Like, they just got embarrassed by G2 in their last set. But that might just be more about like what G2 is doing to people in North America right now. They're just crushing everyone, and there's really no competition about it. So that last matchup is going to be incredibly important for them. And at the same time, you want Envious to come out and hopefully have another bad day today so that they are feeling down on themselves when it comes time to play.
I'm sure Renegades will have their fingers crossed when we go into the next match. We are going to kick to a break in the meantime, so when we return, we will have Envy versus Splice.